Alright, this is John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you here in beautiful Puerto Rico, United States. And I'm here with my friend Kaelash, who I consider the blending master. I would consider myself the juicing master. Although actually both of us do both. I mean, he will juice sometimes, and of course I also blend quite a lot, actually usually once a day actually. But in this episode we're going to share with you guys what is actually better for you. Is it better to juice and buy an Emma juicer, or better to blend and use your Vitamix with a void system, carafe, and lid to vacuum blend? We're not discussing traditional blending. We may mention that a little bit because there are some significant downsides to traditional blending. I do not recommend it. And actually, Kaelash, do you recommend traditional blending like in a Vitamix, in an austerizer, or actually how most of you guys blend out there?
I don't anymore. No, I would not recommend traditional blending. I only recommend vacuum blending exclusively. If you could, only vacuum blend.
Right, yeah, so we both recommend only vacuum blending, not traditional. It's a lot different than traditional blending. And would you recommend only slow juicing versus high-speed juicing?
Of course.
Yes.
Definitely, absolutely. No question about it.
I recommend only slow juicing instead of high-speed juicing, but then we would also recommend, instead of slow juicing, we would actually both recommend vacuum juicing. Is this true, Kaelash?
Yes.
All right. He's very agreeable. See, I can get him to say almost anything. So anyways, links down below to my video where actually I go and share how to do vacuum juicing, which is actually takes juicing to the next level. So actually, if you buy a vacuum blender, you can do vacuum juicing and vacuum blending and actually have the best of both worlds. And actually, to be honest with you guys, that is the summary of this video if you don't want to watch this long video, because we're going to go deep. But the solution is, if you slow juice or vacuum juice, better yet, and vacuum blend, better yet, and do both, that's really the solution. We're comparing kind of apples to oranges here. They're different, but people want to classify them as the same. There's a lot of nuance, and for one person or another person, juice may be better for you, or vacuum blended smoothies and vacuum blended salads may be better for you. So Kaelash, what do you personally do in your life? Do you vacuum blend more, or do you drink more juices, for example?
I vacuum blend a lot more than I do juicing, actually. I started blending when I was a teenager, and I still blend regularly, daily. And I went through a phase, maybe a year or two, when I made juices every single day. And so I'd start my day with, those were all vegetable juices. I didn't add anything sweet, not even carrots at the time. I just did an experiment for myself that year that I didn't eat any sugar, not even fruit sugar, nothing like sugar. Sure, carrots, but I avoided those in my juices. So it was basically lots of spinach, like a whole bunch of spinach, and some celery, and some cucumbers, and parsley, cilantro, different things I could find. So I'd start my day with a green juice, and then what happens to me, my body type, is I get really hungry after that juice. Even I notice my mood changes, And
you get hangry after the juice?
I do.
Wow.
Kind of,
Well, better feed you smoothies, man. We don't want you hangry.
And so I discovered, I continued. I did this for a whole year. And I love drinking those. I love drinking juices. I still do. I really love juices. But I'd have to have something soon after, maybe 15 minutes, half an hour, to bring me down, to ground me. I noticed I got really spacey, too much air element. It was hard for me to focus. And also my whole digestive system is give me something, give me some food, give me something that's a bit more solid. And then that's where the smoothies and the blended salads really helped me balance out the juice. And some people would say, well, because you're juicing sweet things and you get a sugar high. No, those were just vegetables juice, not even carrots, not even beets,
Wow.
Very, very mild. And so that's my experience. When I drink juices, that I get hungry. I get really hungry.
And hangry.
Yeah. So I need to eat something soon after to kind of bring me back and like get me focused again.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, I have a different experience myself. So like I drink usually a quart or 2 quarts of juice a day. And actually how I start my day is I'll drink about a half a liter of water first, stay hydrated. Then when I'll do some work, I'll get hungry, and then I'll come in and drink a juice. So I'll drink a quart of juice. Normally it's a green juice in the morning, straight greens, celery, cucumber, link down below in my video, Green Juice 101 if you guys want to learn how to make it. And I drink the juice, and for me it's about hydration and maximizing and concentrating nutrition to get it into me. And like after the juice, I drink the juice, yes, I will say I am hungry shortly thereafter because it kind of goes right through me. But also, for me, it's not only hydrating because I typically live in the desert, which is an arid climate where like literally you are dehydrating just by living and breathing. But also I feel really the nutrition goes in and I get powered with all the vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients in the greens. And I don't get hangry afterwards. Personally, I just, maybe I'm thirsty again. And then maybe at that point I might have a second juice if I have one pre-made, which could be, my first juice is all green, no fruits, except maybe sometimes lemon and lime, rarely. My second juice is usually a root juice where it's a base of things like carrots, beets, jicama, with turmeric and ginger, and maybe some other kind of I'll also put in actually the red cabbage, maybe a little bit of fruit. Sometimes I'll have extra apples going bad or some pineapple I need to use. I might put that in there, but I prefer actually just more roots because I really want to flood my body with more vegetables than you could actually eat if you just blended them. So for example, if you blended 5 pounds of carrots, you've had 5 pounds of carrot mush. If you put 5 pounds of carrots in the juicer, you would have about 1 quart, maybe a little bit more depending on your juicer, of juice that now you can basically better absorb the nutrients out of the liquid state instead of throwing down all the fiber into your body and then having your body having to deal with all the fiber. Now, I'm not going to say we shouldn't blend because I also blend every day, but because I will batch make my juice, it's rare that I'll just go and make a smoothie. I mean, actually these days I've been making smoothies because sometimes when I'm out of juice, I'm like, I could get out the juicer and make a batch juice, or I could just pick some greens out of my garden, put some coconut water in the blender, or put some frozen berries in my blender and vacuum blend them and make a quick smoothie, which I will do sometimes. So I think that, each one is different, and I think you should experiment to see which one is better for you. Of course, Kaelash, if you are losing weight, would you recommend somebody go on juices or smoothies? I mean, I think I would say if somebody wants to lose weight as their primary goal, I would say go on juices personally.
Yes. In smoothies, it's easier to put nuts and seeds and dried fruits, heavier things that are calorically denser. So for somebody, ask the question differently. If you do not want to lose weight, I would say it's easier to make a smoothie and like sprouted buckwheat. If you put that in your smoothie, I mean, that adds lots of calories. So sure, you could make a very light smoothie. You could also more vegetable based that's close to 0 calories, and you could make a juice that's high in calories.
Yeah, high with a lot of fruits and fruit sugar.
So it depends, of course, what you put in, but generally speaking, smoothies, I'd say, have more calories than juices.
I think another consideration is if somebody is new into this lifestyle, what are your goals, right? I mean, yes, cleaning a juicer is definitely more difficult than cleaning a blender. Would you agree?
I totally agree. That's why I make my juices in the blender and then I strain it. I had this thing sitting in my kitchen for a while after you left last time. You left it here, and I used it a few times. I'm like, this is too much work. This takes too long. I'm going to go back to using my blender, and also knowing that when it's vacuum blended, there's potentially less oxidation.
No, there actually is less oxidation, vacuum juicing versus traditional juicing. Yeah, I guarantee it actually.
So it takes more time to clean it, plus I get more nutrients when I vacuum
But that's a little more, you gotta blend, you have to pre-cut stuff small depending on what you're doing, then you gotta strain it out, then you gotta clean the... I mean, once again, pros and cons. I mean, the other thing is you make one juice and then you drink it, whereas I'll make 8 to 10 quarts of juice and then have them stored in my fridge. And if I had to do 8 to 10 quarts in this, straining it and blending each batch, forget about it. I'm not going to do it.
Takes longer.
It takes way. I mean, maybe if I had hired help that people did stuff for me, I would totally then make them do this instead. Honestly, yes. Yeah. But I do all of my own stuff. So I I'm going to save time with juicing, actually. So yeah, so if you hate cleaning things, right, you definitely want to gravitate toward this, whether you want to, just make smoothies, or whether you want to make the smoothie and then run it through a bag and remove the fiber to then basically have a juice. So let's discuss that real quick, Kaelash. In your opinion, does juicing remove all the fiber like many people online will claim?
In my opinion, it doesn't. And in the past, I believed that it did. And I was even teaching it.
Wow.
I said, you should blend because you'll still have all the fiber. And when you juice, you remove 100% of the fiber. I didn't know. You can go and most bottles, if you buy juice in the store, be it pasteurized or fresh, it'll tell you, well, this is carrot juice here. What does it say? How much fiber?
Yeah, so this carrot juice, right? Look, this is a juice, right? It's not a smoothie. It says per 8 fluid ounce serving. Now, it does have a pittance of fiber, but it has 1 gram of fiber per 8 ounces, and that is this juice, which is carrot juice, which is also made in a hydraulic press, and they run through a bag. So it's like a 2-stage hydraulic press and grinding and pressing. And actually, that style of juicing keeps the least amount of fiber. But even then, there's still fiber. So yes, you could maybe say juicing, depending on the juicer and the ingredient you're using, could remove significant amounts of fiber, but it doesn't remove all the fiber. And if you have people that are telling you it removes all the fiber, they're wrong, because there are different kinds of fiber. But John, I see the fiber come out of the juicer on this side, and the juice comes out here. What you're forgetting about is that there are 2 main classifications of fiber. There is soluble fiber, right? Soluble means dissolves in water. And then there's insoluble fiber, which does not dissolve in water. With the NAMA J2, it removes most of the insoluble fiber that comes out as the pulp. But even then, some of the fiber, the insoluble fiber, the little like bits and stuff, will actually go into the juice. And of course, some juicers will put more fiber in the juice than others. So actually, I'm going to have a video soon, because I look at the published studies, and I have a video soon where actually if you drink this kind of juice, you are literally robbing yourself of nutrition and potential health benefits if too much of the fiber is removed, because actually we're learning that we do want some of the fiber, but maybe you don't want 100% fiber that the vacuum blender would automatically keep. Because here's the real trick to juicing. When you remove some of the fiber, right, nutrients are locked within the fiber. And of course, the blender is pretty good at opening cell walls and releasing the nutrients out of the fiber. But when you juice, it also opens the cell walls and then makes it more easy for our bodies to digest and assimilate the different vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients in the juice to get them into us. So there's a published study on breast cancer survivors. When they actually drank carrot juice, right, they got a greater uptake of the beta carotene in their blood as compared to eating the carrots raw, right? And so that's, to me, it really allows you to basically supercharge the quantity of vegetables you're eating, because most Americans do not eat enough vegetables. Like, I think only 10% of Americans or 9% of Americans eat enough vegetables a day. And that's where juicing could really help you, eat a lot more vegetables in a lot less space, because you're removing part of the fiber. So, for example, if I juice carrots in the NAMA and don't strain it, I'm going to keep maybe about 48% of the fiber, because I'm keeping the soluble fiber because it's going through the little holes in the juicing screen. If you're using something like a pure juicer that gives you a pure juice that has a really nice mouthfeel, I would agree, which is more akin to this, you are removing, in my opinion, more of the soluble fiber, because it's not going through that cloth or the mesh press cloth that they have. So I believe that we do want to drink juices with as much soluble fiber. And also, I have a video linked down below to that where I discuss the fiber amounts in different produce items. So, for example, carrots are approximately 50-50 soluble to insoluble. So that means you could potentially keep up to 50% of the fiber when juicing them. But if you're juicing pineapple, for example, pineapple has only 10% soluble fiber. So when you juice pineapple, you literally remove almost all the fiber, because you're removing 90% of the fiber comes out on this side. Only 10% comes out on this side. And in my opinion, that's not a good idea. But meanwhile, there's a lot of influencers online that show you juicing all this pineapple, and it's rare that I will show you guys juicing pineapple. And if I do, I'll juice it with something like jicama that I'll actually kick up and add more of the soluble fiber into the juice.
So listening to you, I remembered something that I've heard a few times. It's like, drink your vegetables and eat your fruits. What do you think about that?
So, you know what, Kaelash? I would completely agree. We want to actually, especially our leafy greens. I mean, let's face it. You guys may buy the salad mix or the spinach or just even eat greens and eat a salad. You chew them up, and then when you go to the bathroom in the toilet, they come out the other end. You look in the toilet, you see like little, almost undigested whole leaves, right? Have you seen that? I've seen that. My ex-girlfriend, you know, after she went to the bathroom and sometimes she forgot to flush, I would see leaves that like really were not even digested. So to me, hey, that's great, she's eating her salads, but then they're basically coming out whole because she's not absorbing the nutrients in it effectively because either she's not chewing or something's going on with their digestive system. And that's why juicing vegetables that have hard fibrous cell walls and the nutrients are locked in the fibrous cell walls. That's why juicing things like leafy greens that people tend not to chew as well, that we should be actually eating a lot more of, or even things like carrots, right, that are really hard and you don't like to chew on carrots, they're too crunchy. But when you juice them, you basically release the nutrients so now we can absorb them better, right? So I definitely agree with juicing your vegetables to get them more into, hey, yes, you could put the same amount of, you know, carrots in here and have 1 pound of carrot mush versus like 1 pound of carrots in here would make 8 ounces of juice, which is basically all the nutrition out of the carrots, less just some of the fiber. Whereas with this, like I really don't like eating, like to me, like blended carrots would be like baby food. I'm not a big fan of just eating like baby food these days. I'm not a baby anymore. And also too, when you feed baby, they can't tell you they don't like it. maybe they don't like carrot pulp, but that's what you're feeding them. But the other thing I will say is that on the fruits, right? I think, yes, we should eat our fruits and we should not juice fruits. I'm a big advocate of this. As a matter of fact, I have a video, don't juice fruits without doing this to make it more healthy. Link down below to that video. I'm quite passionate, and not every influencer online that is juicing or even promoting the Nama juicer or other juicers are not going to tell you that you don't want to juice fruits in any large excess. I will tell you that because I got into this for my health 29 years ago. I've looked at the studies, I've looked at the research. Now, yes, while drinking some amount of fruit juice, maybe 200 to 300 milliliters a day could be healthy, you know, I would encourage you instead to eat your fruits fresh. Unlike leafy green vegetables and root vegetables that are really hard and fibrous, it's hard for our bodies to actually extract the nutrients from. I mean, I will honestly say, Kaelash, that we are actually more like frugivores. We're more like monkeys and apes, and our digestive system and our hands and everything is optimally designed to digest fruits, right? Without any equipment. Yes, you don't even need a vacuum blender. You don't need a juicer. Just pick the fruits and eat them. Actually, I just had bananas and strawberries just now, and they're so tender, and I wouldn't even, don't even waste your time juicing strawberries. Link down below to that video where I share why you should never juice strawberries. They're one of the worst things to juice is the berries or strawberries. But nonetheless, I encourage you guys to eat your fruits. They are so delicious, so nutritious. And if you don't want to eat them for some reason, then I would recommend actually vacuum blending your fruits over even juicing them. So, Kaelash, what are your thoughts on this topic?
Yes, I love to blend my fruits with my vegetables.
Even better! Get your vegetables in and your fruits at the same time.
And when I say vegetables, I mean mostly the greens, although I make also blended salads. But what I make pretty much every day and have pretty much every single day is a blend of fruits with greens and some roots like ginger, turmeric, and maybe some other roots. And then I also personally like to have a blended soup made from just vegetables with some avocado. And I'm not suggesting. I heard once, and I had to laugh. Somebody said, "Well, as long as you have teeth, you should not only eat blended food." That makes sense. As long as you have teeth,
I agree.
You should be chewing some
exactly.
of the food. And so I agree with that as well. I do a lot of blended food, and yet I do like my salads, and I do like eat some fruits, chew on my fruits, and some nuts here and there as well. And you're the juice master, and when I'm around you, usually I drink more juices. And often you make them, and they taste so amazing. I love drinking the juices you make. If we lived closer to each other, like on a daily basis, I'd be like making the smoothies, and it'd be like exchanging.
Well, so same thing, Kaelash. When I come visit Kaelash, I'm drinking way more smoothies and blended salads than I ever would at home myself. So maybe, here's the thing. Life is all about balance. You don't want to juice too much, and I'll probably admit that I probably drink more juices, and I probably should swing more to the smoothies, You know, so you got to find the balance that works for you, right? If you're trying to lose weight, hey, maybe juicing would be better. If you're trying to detoxify, what would you say for people that want to detoxify? We won't really say what that is, but I would say that for people who want to detoxify, I would say you really want to focus on juicing, especially more vegetables, and drinking the juice, because I believe that's going to be more better detoxification and clean you out a little bit more effectively than having your body deal with all the fiber, especially if your digestive system is not up to handling a lot of fiber. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, fiber could be a good thing, but also, in my opinion, it could be a bad thing depending on where you are in your journey. What are your thoughts on this, Kaelash?
Yes, I totally agree. It really depends on the person. It depends on the health of your digestive system. And talking about juicing, I'd say juicing vegetables, and we touched on this earlier, you know, and then maybe gradually increasing the fiber, increasing the smoothie intake. However, the fiber is really good too to really cleanse your system, like all that fiber, like a broom, taking out all that old stuff. It just may be too much for some people at the beginning. I mean, ideally, personally, I would say both are really great. You know, juicing and also blending, making smoothies and having juices. That's ideal day.
Ideal.
You know? And can I get that in every day, time-wise? I can't. And if I have to choose between a juice and a smoothie, like I mentioned earlier, the juice makes me feel like too lightheaded, you know, and the smoothie really helps me balance. Whereas I know you thrive more in having the juices.
Yeah.
And I want to emphasize too, we have different constitutions.
Yeah, he probably needs to gain some weight. I probably need to lose some weight.
And so we have different constitutions. We're born with as Ayurveda said, we're born with a different, everybody. And so I may need something that's a little bit different. And also depending on what stage in my life or your life you're in, you may need something different. Yeah. At different stages of your life, and also than somebody else. And from my perspective, it's not necessarily that one is better than the other.
Yeah.
What do you need at this moment of your life?
Right.
And things change all the time. Seasons change. You know, there's the 4 seasons, and we're in different seasons of our own lives. And then there's stress, and then there's times we're just really busy, and we're more able to do one thing and not another thing. And then at some point, maybe, hopefully during what I call the sunset stage of our lives, we're able to focus more of our time and energy on staying as healthy as possible for as long as we can. And my goal is to make both smoothies and juices on a daily basis again.
Yes, I think that might be good. Because I always stock my fridge full of juices, but also I could vacuum blend in advance and then have a few smoothies in there, so I could, you know, maybe in the day I could grab one juice and then I could do one smoothie. That'd probably benefit me more than just doing, you know, juice, and then I eat a big salad or other heat processed vegetables and then, you know, having some fruit. But I think I want to comment on something you said earlier, Kaelash, is that, you know, as the #1 independent seller of juicers in the country, and actually also vacuum blenders in the country, I would say that you don't even need either of them, because the best juicers in the world we were given for free and clear when we were born. There are teeth. And people forget to use their teeth. I mean, we could go out here, there's some sugarcane growing over there on the farm here. We could pick some sugarcane. We could chew the cane, which is really fibrous. Don't put sugarcane in any slow juicer. We could take the sugarcane, chew it in our mouths, and we could suck the juice out. And we could do this with other fruits and vegetables, even wheatgrass. You could chew it up, suck the juice out, and spit it out, right? But we're so lazy, we don't do that. Like, I would not do that for 32 ounces of leafy greens, use my teeth as a juicer. I got to do a lot of things in there. I got to film content for you guys. I got to, like, pay my bills. I got to clean my house. I got to do my gardening. I got to do my food prep. Anyways, too many things to do to be juicing with my teeth. But that, honestly, is really the best. And also, of course, when you eat your food, use your teeth to grind up your food and chew it into a smoothie-like consistency. Most people take 2 chews and swallow, and then that's definitely not doing you any good. And, you know, as much as I love juices, as much as I love smoothies, I make it a point to eat a salad or other, you know, vegetable, like cooked, heat-processed vegetables every single day, to use my jaw, use my teeth, to chew on things that are hard, crunchy. You know, I think that is so important. So, Kaelash, what are your thoughts on, you know, not even using a juicer or a blender like I was discussing.
Yes. If you can, of course, it'd be great to be chewing. Sometimes on those long trips when on the plane for 6 or 8 hours, I might take 2 hours to just eat a salad. And I love having all that time available. Would I take 2 hours at home? Probably not, because like he said, we're busy. I have a son and so many things going on. One thing you touched on is how important it is to chew your food. I agree 100%. What you didn't mention is even your smoothie, I recommend that you chew very well.
Or your juice. Or your juice. I agree.
Yes, absolutely. So take your time, really, swooshing it around in your mouth and really tasting the flavors and becoming mindful of the different texture, the different flavors, and really taking your time, be it you're drinking or eating a juice or a smoothie or whatever it is, a salad or
mindfully,
nuts,
eating mindfully.
Being more conscious, again, really coming back into our bodies, back into the present, back to our taste buds, and enjoying every bite or every zip of whatever we put into our mouths.
I think another part of this video, I think for me, is really a nugget. So I really want you to pay attention, which, I look at copious amounts of published scientific studies. I know Kaelash probably doesn't have time to do that with a kid and all these other things going on in his life. But what I'll tell you guys is this, honestly, like coming down to the end of this episode, I will say that there are benefits to juicing that you can't get through vacuum blending. There are benefits of vacuum blending you're not going to get through juicing, but there are also benefits of chewing your food up properly that you can't get from vacuum blending or slow juicing. So what's the best? Well, I want you guys to get out of thinking what is the best, right? Because in some cases, like, if you want higher, beta-carotene absorption, right, I will say that juicing carrots is probably more effective than vacuum blending them, unless you maybe vacuum blend them and then strain them out into a juice, than eating them, right? But on the same token, if you want some of that fiber, right, then probably, in the ground up fiber in small particles that could confer other benefits to you, then yes, maybe vacuum blending was best. But then in other instances, just chewing our food, such as with fruits, right? Chewing our fruits, chewing them up, right, is probably more nutritious than even vacuum blending, right? Like strawberries, for example. Yes, juicing strawberries, really bad idea. Link down below to that video. Vacuum blending strawberries, yeah, that's definitely a better idea than juicing them. But strawberries are so delicate, you don't need to like open up the cell walls of strawberries. You don't need a high power vacuum blender. Our teeth could grind up strawberries into a mush, right? And then at low RPM, right, because these run at very high RPM, we could digest those strawberries, get our jaws moving, and then swallow them. So really, that's the goal of this video, and you probably haven't heard that other places because everybody always wants this one to win or that one. I'm not tied to any of these things, man. Once again, 3 options: juice, vacuum blend, or chew up and swallow into a mush. Do all of them, and more importantly, find the one that works for you, right? If you have dentures, you can't chew that well anymore, then maybe you're going to want to gravitate towards these. I try to do all 3 in a day is my goal, really. And I tend to gravitate toward juices, although I probably should gravitate a little bit more towards some smoothies. So, Kaelash, what are your thoughts on this more accepting model, inclusive model, and not trying to make one out to be the winner over the other one? Because I'm trying to sell you a juicer, and I'm not trying to sell you a blender. I'm actually trying to just get you to use your teeth or use a vacuum blender or use a juicer. I don't really care, but find the one that works for you, that more importantly, you can keep up and you can do consistently, right? Exactly. If you're going to buy a juicer, it gets used once or twice, you do a juice fast, then it sits around, it doesn't do you any good. If you buy a vacuum blender, but I could use a vacuum blender because I dump some things in like Kaelash, I hit the button, vacuum blends, and I drink it, and then I clean it real quick and easy. But you do it every day, then do it. If you're not going to use a vacuum blender because that's too much work, then man, just chew your fruits and vegetables up, but eat your fruits and vegetables. Don't go for the processed food, the junk food, the garbage food. Eat real fruits and vegetables, but that's where, it gets really difficult to eat high quantities of fruits and vegetables that I believe a person should eat to be optimally healthy and literally crowd out all the other junk foods.
Yeah, the consistency, which you just talked about, I think that's so important. And not just once a week, it's not a diet. You don't do it like twice a year only, but really consistently making your juices or your smoothies. And I'd say if you're really new to this, also find out what you're willing to do consistently and Like I know for me, cleaning a juicer at some point of my life, like I'm not going to do it every day, you know. What I do consistently, what works for me, I'm not saying that this is for you, is blending, you know. And at times of my life, what worked for me and I had time for is juicing first and then blending. And I did it over a long period of time. So I believe it's really finding out what works for you that is healthy, obviously, something that's you know is good for you, but starting with that.
Wonderful, Kaelash. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned that, and one of the things I want to add in is that one of the things I love to do is actually go ahead and I'll juice. So say I'll juice like 10 pounds of bell peppers. I'll make about 3 quarts of bell pepper juice, and then I'll take that juice and then put it in the blender, and then I'll add additional nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, sauerkraut, and then that'll be the base of my, what I call a raw soup, because I'm not cooking the soup, although you could take the juice and then heat it on the stove up and then add other ingredients. But now I'm really concentrating the vitamin C, beta carotenes in the bell peppers and then blending them up. So I'm actually using both of these to add fiber back in. And another point I really want to make real quick is that, you know, say when you juice your vegetables, you remove some of the fiber. What you could do, and actually, honestly, what would be best is if you actually drink the juice, so now you get greater absorption of the nutrients in those leafy greens, and then later in the day, you just take the fiber and then you just eat this plain. This way, you're still eating the whole food. You're just having them where the juicer did a lot of the work of the digestion for you. So you can still get the juice, get the benefits of the juice, and then you can still get the benefits of the fiber separately by eating it. Like to me, the fiber tastes bland. It tastes like nothing. And to me, if I'm going to eat fiber, I'm not going to eat the pulp that comes out of the machine. I'm just going to get fresh vegetables and eat that. So now my body could have the fiber plus the nutrients as nature provided, and let my body try to extract it. And I believe it's definitely not going to be as efficient as the juicer would be. The other thing I would say is you guys want to make a juice and add more fiber to it, right? You could take a percentage of this fiber and add it back in there. But what I would say instead is add a unique fiber that you don't normally eat. So for example, if I make a juice, this fiber to me is waste fiber because I eat so many fruits and vegetables. Why am I going to even use this fiber that's already been extracted? But what would be valuable to me is basically taking some flax seeds, some chia seeds, maybe some other like oatmeal, and grinding that up in the blender into a powder, into the vacuum blender, and then adding that to my juice to add more fiber back into my juice, right? That to me would be more valuable than using the, just the pulp that comes out, because that's fiber that I may not otherwise be eating that can have additional health benefits. And, I've looked up a lot of the studies on fiber, and here's the thing. Not all fibers are created equal. I mean, there's so many things that we're sharing in this video that you would have to research for hours and days. Not all fibers are created equal, and the one you need the most is probably the one you're not eating at all. So, Kaelash, what are your thoughts on some of these things that I just shared?
Yes, fiber is really, really important. We know how important it is for the whole digestive system. And I love blending them. I just get them all in my smoothies, and there really isn't a right or wrong, and we agree. We just have different ways of doing it.
Yeah.
And I learn from him, he learns from me, and I enjoyed eating some things that I usually wouldn't when I'm around him. And then I make some things that...
Likewise.
And it's really about finding out what works for you and not being shy. Try new things as well. And if you see something at the farmer's market or wherever you shop that is good for you, it's a fruit or vegetable or root or something that's healthy, try new things, I would say. I encourage you. And try it in different forms. Juice it, blend it, eat it just as is, if it's possible. And so I think that the whole thing of diversity and variety, we often get locked into right or wrong, black or white. And juicing and blending also gives me the opportunity to adding some foods that I usually would not be, like clove, for example, which I put in my smoothies, is something that I would not be just chewing on, or it's pretty hard to chew on just a clove. So adding more variety and trying new things, that's one of the things I would like to add.
All right, Kaelash, so we may agree on a lot, maybe disagree on a few things, or, practice that differently in our lives. I think one thing that we would both agree upon is traditional blending. We've talked only about vacuum blending, and a lot of you guys have not heard about vacuum blending before. Basically, the vacuum blender sucks the excess oxygen out of the carafe before you blend, so you don't do the massive oxidative damage. Links down below to the video where we talk about the benefits of vacuum blending. But Kaelash, let's talk about, when people just usually compare juicing to blending, they talk about traditional blending. But as we both agreed upon early in this episode, we both agree that you should not be traditionally blending. So let's talk about, what traditional blenders remove, actually, that slow juicers or vacuum blenders keep.
So what do they remove?
Yes.
A lot of oxidative damage. You lose a lot of the nutrients, a lot of the vitamins, and the antioxidants as well if you're doing traditional blending.
Yes, so the traditional blender blends in and adds a lot of oxygen, which then causes a lot of oxidation, including polyphenol oxidase going crazy and breaking down polyphenols, and other oxygen-sensitive nutrients are greatly degraded. So while people think, oh, you blend everything and you keep everything, right? People that say that are also incorrect. People that say when you juice, you remove all the fiber, that's also incorrect, right? When you do traditionally blend, you actually lose significant amounts of the oxygen-sensitive vitamins and nutrients actually in there. So that's what you're removing, although you are keeping all the fiber. And to me, the trade-off between traditional blending versus slow juicing, in my opinion, you keep more with the slow juicing because you keep more of the beneficial antioxidant compounds, polyphenols, and vitamins that are oxygen sensitive, and actually even concentrate them, which is the difference between traditional blending where you actually will lower them, although you will keep the fiber. So then you gotta ask yourself, what's more beneficial, John? Fiber or phytonutrients? And I would say it depends on where you are in your journey. To me, I believe a lot of the benefits of plant foods are coming from, of course, their polyphenols, but of course, while we can't digest the fiber, our microbiome can, and they could actually make secondary nutrients such as propionate, acetate, and butyrate inside us, including other vitamins potentially. That could be also beneficial, so by no means am I saying only you should juice, but you definitely should not do traditional blending any longer. Kaelash, do you have any final comments on the just traditional blending?
So this one turns at how many RPMs, rotations per minute?
50 revolutions per minute.
So 50.
50.
And the Vitamix?
The Vitamix could go up to 32,000 revolutions per minute.
Per minute. I mean, just the difference. 50.
So that's the damage, much less damage at a slower, because you're not introducing all the oxygen. And once again, I don't recommend high-speed juicers that could run in excess of 10,000 to 20,000 RPM either.
Yes, so just those numbers, However, like we said before, if you have a vacuum blender, if you take out the oxygen first, then it's different. So even those thousands of rotations per minute, because it's blended, the food is blended in a vacuum-deprived environment, will not suffer the oxidative damage. So, like I said earlier, I would rather vacuum juice with the blender than using the juicer because it is easier to me.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree. In small or single batch, all during the pandemic when food was a bit more scarce and I wanted to make sure my body had the most nutrition, right? And the food prices went up and it was sometimes harder to buy food. I would basically make mostly vacuum juice because also I had a lot more time because I was stuck at home, right? These days, now I could leave my house, food is more plentiful, and now I just juice in bulk. So find what works for you. All right, so I think that's all the information that we're going to share between juicing versus vacuum blending. And because I don't share too many smoothie recipes for you, I've actually arranged with Kaelash for him to share his expert recipes with you. So Kaelash, what do you want to share with all my viewers that remain to the end of this episode?
Well, since you call me the blending master, I would like to share 12 recipes using a vacuum blender, making 12 different smoothies that have 12 different benefits.
And they are actually literally meal replacement smoothies because all the smoothies that I ever tasted are well balanced. They don't just have only fruits, right? They have fruits plus vegetables plus some nuts and seeds plus some herbs and spices plus, other functional foods. They are so delicious. They have roots. They have so many different things in there. They're just really balanced. And also, like he says, right, they're really filling because they'll keep him going like literally half of a day. Whereas if I drink a juice, yes, very quickly soon after, I need to eat something else or drink another juice because I am yet hungry again because it goes right through me. But to me, that's actually an advantage because it's just hydrating me. My body absorbed the nutrition, and now I can eat the next thing. Right. So Kaelash, so what are you going to offer them, and then how do they get it?
It's the ebook, the 12 smoothie meal replacement recipes made in the vacuum blender. And you can get it. There'll be a link below.
Yeah, we'll put a link down below. Just put in your email address that I'll share with Kaelash, and he'll be able to send you out that free ebook where you will get the 12 meal replacement vacuum blended smoothies, as well as learn about his Vital Influence portal. Well, actually, he has a full vacuum blending course where he goes deep into how to make those smoothies and more vacuum blending information for those of you guys that want to get more into vacuum blending. So Kaelash, any final words of wisdom you'd like to share with all my viewers today, summing up this episode on slow juicing versus vacuum blending?
I would say start with one thing today, or the latest tomorrow. Whatever, just one thing you learn from this. Start today or start tomorrow and integrate it, make it part of your routine.
Wonderful, Kaelash. I mean, what I would say is that I want you guys to be consistent. You know, no matter which of these three options you choose, once again, slow juicing, vacuum blending, or also, of course, you could do vacuum blending and then squeezing it out with Alexa's bag. Link down below my video on that. So you could do vacuum juicing, or even just chewing your food, eating mindfully, eating consciously, being present with your food, chewing your juices, chewing your smoothies, chewing your food. I want you guys to just incorporate all these because each of them have unique benefits, and you're not going to get benefits of one of them if you're not doing them. And find the balance that works for you, and find the one that you could easily do. Yes, we could all pick up some berries and chew them up. So hopefully you're already doing that now. And then maybe the next thing is, hey, get one of these appliances. And honestly, if I had to only choose one of these appliances, which one would I choose? Would I choose a juicer? Actually, I wouldn't. Actually, I would choose a vacuum blender because now I can make the smoothies, and also I could vacuum juice with it, which would actually make a higher quality juice than even a juicer. And many people may be surprised to say that. But also, too, is that it is a lot of work. That being said, I do own multiple vacuum blenders and multiple juicers just in case. I could use any one of them literally any day of the week. And I often use the Nama J2, and I often use my Kuvings vacuum blender is what I use at my house. So links down below to some of the videos where I discuss the machines that I like to use personally at home. So in any case, if you guys enjoyed this episode, hey, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. More importantly, share this with other people that are looking to find if slow juicing or vacuum blending is the best. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you miss my new and upcoming episodes. I'm coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never know what you're up or what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. What new juicer unboxings or vacuum blender testings or juicer comparisons I'll be doing, or what knowledge bombs I'll be dropping on you. And make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as my videos come out. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. The past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 700 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to you guys all about the best equipment to process your fruits and vegetables more effectively. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.
Week.